G'day, Steelers Nation. Welcome back to Steel Curtain Network and also welcome back to Steelers Nation Australia. Now, as usual, I've been very busy in my social life, in my work life, and also it feels like Steelers have been very busy too in terms of, the draft was 2 weeks ago. The media out there, the NFL fans, I think Steeler fans, some of us are saying, they did a pretty boring job and they weren't a big fan of the draft. And they're making all these power rankings and all these draft grades. And I'm here to pretty much tear that down. I don't think that these draft grades mean anything. I think they're overrated. I think the power rankings are also overrated when the season doesn't start to another 4 months, 4 or 5 months away. We haven't really even seen the players in camp yet. Cameron Hayward, big shout out to him and my mate Tom from Ireland, who's in Dublin, who he was the International Steelers Fan of the Year. Tom, he got to meet Cam over in Dublin. So there are players out there like Cam and TJ who haven't really reported or shown up to Pittsburgh to take part in some of the off-season drills. Like there are players who are there like Mason Rudolph, which I'll be talking about in the second part of this episode. I want to go down that lane again because on the terms of Aaron Rodgers, where is he? Where's Aaron Rodgers? He was at the Kentucky Derby, the horse racing. He can go there, but he can't sign with the Steelers. So in that sense, I want to talk about these things. That is the power rankings, the draft rankings, all those kind of things. In terms of that, it's a bit frustrating because the players have yet to walk onto the field, and they're already getting graded. Sorry, on my Steel Nation Australia, I had left up there the Aaron Rodgers picture with Mike Tomlin. So let's try to break it down just a bit. Before I do though, in this episode, I'm recording in the morning. I'm recording at the time of that Justin Tucker has now been released from the Ravens, and I don't want to go into that nonsense. I more want to go into Chris Boswell. I want to give Chris Boswell a quick appreciation post. Now, this is from B Wall on Twitter. He says here, Chris Boswell post, no agenda, just greatness. 88% career field goal percentage, fourth all time. 95% career extra point percentage. 43 field goals from 50 yards plus. 1,100 points total scored. First time team All-Pro. 2 times Pro Bowler. 1 TD pass. And B Wall says here, 0 scandals, just ice in his veins. Now, I will talk about that more on my channel, Steel Nation Australia on YouTube, if you guys want to check that out as well, if you are from Steel Curtain Network. But that's right. Chris Boswell has 0 scandals, ice in his veins. The Wizard of Boz is a fantastic kicker. Hopefully they can sign him for another 2-year, 3-year, 4-year deal, and he just keeps kicking him until he's 40 years into his age. But yes, Justin Tucker has now been released from the Ravens at the time of recording when this comes out on SEN. So ultimately, Chris Boswell is an absolute legend, and I hope he has a great career, the rest of his career with the Steelers. He's now 10 years into it. Hopefully he plays 5 more years, 6, 7, 8 more years, and he overtakes Gary Anderson points as a Steeler. There are also guys in this episode too. I do apologize in advance. If it's a bit stop-start, my allergies are playing up in the morning, so I've got a bit, sound a bit more nasally than usual. So I do apologize for that if I've got to stop-start everywhere, and we'll see how we go in transition. But let's get to the main topic of the show, and that's talking about these power rankings. And really, where do they come from? Now, I've got a guy here on my YouTube channel, the Steel Nation Australia, on Fox NFL, and a bloke called Dave Helms. Post-draft power rankings. Now, I understand they go back to last year where the teams would finish, like the Philadelphia Eagles, they won the Super Bowl, so they're number 1. The Lions had a pretty good postseason run as well. They're number 2. Buffalo Bills up there. Josh Allen with the Ravens. Lamar Jackson 4. KC 5. Commanders 6. But does it really mean anything? The Steelers were apparently ranked 26 maybe before the draft, and now they're ranked 30. So after the draft, which I thought was a really good one in terms of getting D linemen, and we're going to go through the quarterback numbers in a minute. The rookie numbers are just released too, so that's pretty exciting to see who's wearing what. But the power rankings to me don't mean that much. What means is winning on Sunday, and that's the first week. All 32 teams are 0-0, unless you're the Browns, which you absolutely suck, and you have like they've just never won anything ever, or the Bengals. But I can't stand the Bengals. But in that sense, power draft rankings, you have to put a measure on something. But just because you don't believe what the Steelers did was right, or you think that it was completely wrong, and they should have went Shador Sanders, they should have went a quarterback higher, they should have got the other bloke there, Dart. I don't know. They should have got someone else besides getting D Lyman or whatever may happen, or the quarterback room is it's bad time right now because we haven't got Aaron Rodgers. I think it's yet again hogwash. I think it's crazy. So the Steelers are ranked here. Post-draft power rankings are ranked 30. But where does it come from? For me, this draft was pretty good. When you go to the draft and you look back at the guys that we got, Derek Harmon, first round D tackle, solves a problem. Caleb Johnson, running back, he also solved a problem too. Now he can work with Warren and he can work with the other bloke there, Kenny G. Jack Sawyer is on the edge. That's edge depth. He might play teams as well. Y.A. Black is also the defensive tackle. So he's helping in the rotation. And it's a bit like what the Eagles do, I think, what Andy Weidl's coming over and helping out with Omar Khan. Maybe they're trying to build up the trenches on the O-line and build up the trenches on D-line. Will Howard, quarterback. Steelers needed a quarterback. Less pressure for Will Howard to come in here and to have like Kenny Pickett's, got to fill in his shoes because Kenny Pickett had a lot of pressure on him being round one. Carson Bruner is a linebacker, teams guy. Dante Kent was a team specialist, I think punt return. Might take off pressure off Austin, or he might be also battling a job for punt return with Calvin Austin. So in that sense, the Steelers fell from 26 to 30 based off, I think, them not addressing the quarterback situation in this draft. But many Yinzers out there, many Pittsburgh Steelers fans, we kind of know, it doesn't matter where you are, if you're in Australia like me, New Zealand, England, or wherever, you kind of know they had to go this route. They needed to go D-line position. And for me, if you were to grade it, you'd probably give a B plus, maybe an A. Now, speaking of draft grades, I think a lot of people out there were giving Steelers a C, or they're giving Steelers it was kind of average. It wasn't that exciting, right? But I think these things are just overrated. You see draft grades and power rankings all the time. Unless you are winning Super Bowls like the Eagles, who are number one, or like you are top teams like the Lions or Chiefs up there. I'd hate to say it, even the Ravens or the Bills. Then these are really meaningless because all teams come out of this at 0-0. Now, another thing I want to talk about in terms of draft grades was the quarterback rankings, and this one is also there's probably more merit to this than there is maybe post-draft power rankings, but the quarterback rankings. And when I finish on this one, I want us on the second side of this break, on the second side of the episode, I want to talk about Mason Rudolph again. Because Mason Rudolph, is that the evil twin? He's got the goatee, he's got the cool nature. This guy could be the Steelers starting quarterback week one. Now, NFL QB power rankings, we have Josh Allen, we have Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Patty Mahomes, Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield, Herbert, Matthew Stafford, Jalen Hurts, right? Jordan Love. Out of those two, only I think 3 have won a Super Bowl. That includes Mahomes, Stafford, and Hurts in top 10. So it must mean something. Like I would love to have Jordan Love as our quarterback to be a franchise guy. For the Steelers, if it were to happen, it was a crazy idea somehow. Jaden Daniels, up and coming quarterback, to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, franchise guy would be fantastic. Even Baker Mayfield here, ranked at 6. He has turned his career around from the Browns, who threw him under the bus, and now he's a buck, right? Mahomes is Mahomes. He is who he is. He's unbelievable. Joe Burrow is a really good quarterback, but he can't win on a poor franchise like the Bengals. Lamar Jackson does all he can to be number 2 and wins MVPs, but he can't win a Super Bowl. So does it mean that much in terms of QB rankings? You've got great players. Yes, you've got to rank them somehow. Now, when you fall all the way down, right? You go past the Tours, the Jared Goffs at 16, Brock Purdy at 17, Kyle Murray at 18, Bryce Young, who was getting better last year, Bo Nix, who was getting better last year as well. Geno Smith for the Raiders, which could be very, very interesting to me. Hot take, by the way. Hot take. Hot take. I reckon this year, somehow, some way, Pete Carroll and Geno Smith are going to win that division. I just feel it in I don't know what it is. I have this sense that the Raiders are going to turn it around finally. They're going to take on the big bad Chiefs. The Broncos will probably go 11 wins or whatever it is, and I think the Raiders win that division. Hot take here on what is it, May the 6th or May the 5th for you guys out there. So hot take, the Raiders win that division. I'm just saying it out loud so everyone can hear. Righto. As you fall down the list, you have Caleb Williams, Cam Ward, the Titans, and the QB power ranking already. Cam Ward is up there, which is crazy because he hasn't thrown an NFL pass yet. Shador Sanders also 26. He's up there, hasn't thrown a pass yet. Because they're just, trying to, I guess, gauge, what's the word? A feeling that might happen. Justin Fields is 27. Here's the funny part, though, and I think the NFL fans, besides Pittsburgh Steelers fans, don't believe that Mason Rudolph can do it. Silence, right? Don't believe that Mason Rudolph can be a QB1 in this league. There was many guys on the, I think it was the Fox Sports or the ESPN YouTube program, or what it was called, The Facility. There were guys on there saying Mason Rudolph, he can't lead the team to victory. He's not starter mentality. Even though a couple of years ago he had 3 starts in a row, and he saved Christmas. Then going down the list is 29 is Jackson Dart, JJ McCarthy, Derek Carr, and Anthony Richardson. So those are your power rankings, right? Power rankings. There are power rankings for QB, power rankings for the Steelers post-draft. There'll be power rankings for, training camp. There are power rankings for everything. And like I said, unless you are the Eagles who are winning Super Bowls or Chiefs who are winning Super Bowls, who almost won 3 in a row, then won 2 in a row, the power rankings to me mean absolutely nothing. Now, you can go into your team, which is our team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and say, did the Steelers improve? If you look to the quarterback room right now, if you're going to compare the quarterback room from last year being Justin Fields and Wilson, now having Will Howard, a younger bloke, and Mason Rudolph, you could say it's almost even, right? If Aaron Rodgers comes in, and I'll bring him up one more time on my Steel Nation Oz page, if he comes in and Rodgers is a QB1, you could potentially say that the quarterback room is better than last year, right? You can always compare things. You can compare running backs from Najee going to LA. It's now better with the other bloke there, Caleb Johnson. And by the way, I'll also bring out too the rookie jersey numbers. Howard is wearing number 18. Johnson's wearing number 20. Jack Sawyer wearing 33. Dante Kent 34. Not Mark Bruner. Carson Bruner 44. Y.A. Black 78. And Derek Harmon wearing 99. So with the running back room, you can compare to last year that Najee was out and he's out now, and Warren and Johnson has a better contract and a younger bloke at that position. That could be better. So you can always compare things, and even to a sense, to receiver. Receiver room is much better than last year. But I do find these things funny. I do find them pretty weird and just a bit odd that you can say after the draft, the Steelers are ranked 30th, as in we're the 30th. We're almost the third worst team in the NFL, just above the Browns and also just behind the Jets because we had a poor draft. But in reality, the Steelers had a great draft, drafting D linemen and getting a quarterback possibly for the future, getting outside linebacker depth and getting a running back, which we needed because Najee had left to the Chargers. Anyways, guys, we're going to go to a quick break. And on this quick break, on the other side, we're going to talk about Mason Rudolph's future and chance to be QB number 1 because there's no Rodgers. That's not happening. It says one day it's going to happen, the next day it doesn't. Then we've been in limbo for 11 weeks. I've been doing these episodes now for 12 weeks in a row. And that's what's that? 2 or 3 months? We've been waiting for Rodgers to make a choice here on Steel Curtain Network and also Steelers Nation Australia. So after this quick break, let's talk about Mason Rudolph and his chance really to be QB1 and lead this team. Because right now too, Mason Rudolph, he's out there. He's out there with the fellas, going to the organized off-season activities, running around and getting back with the team and playing football. He's the one showing up. You don't see Rodgers showing up. Rodgers is out there at the Kentucky Derby. That the Steelers are there on phase one and phase two off-season workouts. He's the one showing up. Mason Rudolph is there. So right now, he's QB1. Alrighty, Steeler Nation, welcome back to Steel Curtain Network, and also welcome back to Steelers Nation Australia. Just one quick thing, I have been really busy, man. So on my YouTube stuff on Steel Nation Oz, I haven't done too much, but I'm hoping with the time that I've spent now over today and the next day, I can do more video content. And I will be making a video about Chris Boswell in the news because Justin Tucker had been released from the Ravens. But in that sense, Justin Tucker had 89%, I think, all-time field goal percentage, where Chris Boswell has 88%, but less drama, less baggage. I want to give that out there. I want to see what over the next few years, what Chris Boswell can do. Can he chase down Gary Anderson in terms of, getting the points? But Gary Anderson is like third or fourth all time with like 2,400 points. But Chris Boswell is 1,100. But as a Steeler, I think Gary Anderson has about 1,400. Now, as promised, I talked about in the first episode, Mason Rudolph and there's still the no-show. Aaron Rodgers' watch has been going on for a month and a half, 2 months, or whatever it may be. The Steelers reported a few days ago or last week, I think it was organized phase one off-season workouts, and there was photos here. And you see Mason Rudolph showing up with his goatee, working out with the fellas. And also, this is when the team is getting back together. They're wearing the black and gold. They got the shades on. They're outside the sun. They're pushing weights. They're doing all their exercises. They're getting ready for the season, right? Some people will say, why isn't TJ Watt there? Why isn't this guy there? This is a time when, you know what? Just let it take its time. TJ will turn up when he needs to turn up. Cameron Hayward was over in Dublin with my mate Tom, the International Fan of the Year. It will happen when it happens. But we did see Mason Rudolph there throwing the football along with other guys. And he's wearing his new look, what looks like an evil Mason Rudolph. And he's got the goatee and he's ready to sling it. Now, Mason Rudolph, of course, we know the story. He was a Pittsburgh Steeler drafted by us. And then he sat behind Big Ben. He had his chance with Duck that 1 year. He's been now in the league, I think like 7 years or 6 years. And at the moment, it looks like that he's going to be QB1. And many NFL fan bases will clown and laugh at you, and they won't take you seriously if you think that Mason Rudolph's going to be QB1. But I say, why not? Why can't Mason Rudolph be QB1? If this bloke here on screen on Steel Nation Oz, Aaron Rodgers, is not going to be there, then it falls down to Mason Rudolph being QB1. They got him for a 2-year deal. I think it was $4 million each. He could be that bridge guy that they go and find another franchise. He could be the guy that helps out Will Howard, helps him, become a quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Big Ben talked on his podcast about those leadership qualities, and it was always funny because I thought that Big Ben never really gave a hand to Landry Jones or to Dobbs or, to Mason Rudolph. They kind of just did his own thing. But I think Mason Rudolph would at least give him a chance to learn from all. The quarterback room needs to grow together. But Mason Rudolph right now, he could be QB1. And I saw him, he was at the, Mason Rudolph was at an event the other day. He did a little interview, and he was talking about how he was so happy to be back in the city of Pittsburgh because he had been with the Tennessee Titans last year. And there could have been a chance, honestly. There were still fans, I think in 2024 season, they wanted Mason Rudolph to have a shot. They wanted to sign him then. So Steelers eventually backtrack. After the 1 year with Tennessee, he comes back to Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin's happy. I think that the offense is happy to have him. But there'll always be improvements for sure. And that improvement could be Aaron Rodgers, could be another quarterback. But Mason Rudolph said here, being back in the city of Pittsburgh, it's a sports town like no other. Anytime we get to repay that, it's always a fun opportunity. I think he was doing a fun run to raise some money for a charity. So he's out in Pittsburgh. He's out and around. He's going to hockey games, stuff like that. Mason Rudolph is trying to make, this his team, his town. And he's very excited to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. But overshadowing this kind of stuff is the wait for Aaron Rodgers, or the wait for who's going to be QB1. But I've been up and down through this roller coaster. I'm at the point now, it looks like that Aaron Rodgers is going to retire, because you think after 12 weeks, if we started organized team activities, that Rodgers should be here, right? He should be in the building throwing passes with the team and learning the playbook and just being around the building. He's not here. Mason Rudolph is here. QB1 Mason Rudolph is here, and he legit could be the week one starter, as the Steelers have now Will Howard, the rookie, Skylar Thompson, who's like the third quarterback, and they have the first quarterback is Mason Rudolph. But normally the Steelers go into the season with 4 quarterbacks, and we're all still waiting, or some of us are waiting for the Steelers to make that choice to find out who's going to be number one. And it could be the bloke that is Mason Rudolph. So anyways, in the comments below from my Steelers Nation YouTube, let me know, is that going to happen? Is Mason Rudolph the guy? Have the Steelers done like another smoke screen in that sense where some of us thought they were going to draft Sanders, and the next minute they went and drafted Will Howard in the 6th. So I'm in all belief, if the Steelers were to go through this season, I think Mason Rudolph, he can play. He's got a cannon of an arm. He can reach the DK Metcalfs and the George Pickens on the sideline. He can find Calvin Austin. He proved it 2 years ago in 2024 when he beat the 3 teams to advance to the playoffs. And we did get ousted again against the Bills in the playoffs in the first round. That sucks. That's not fun. Like, the Steelers haven't won a playoff game in you know how many years, 7 or whatever it is, or 8 years. It's going on a long time, right? A long time. But in that though, the Mason Rudolph can play. He can throw the football. He can find the tight ends. He can roll out. He's not the fastest guy, but he's got a bit of speed to roll out and find someone on the run. He can find George Pickens. That great TD against the Bengals last year or 2 years ago was the slant route to George Pickens and went 90 yards. He zinged that football in there. He's got no fear. Mason Rudolph is just here to play football, and you don't hear any scandals of any nature around Mason Rudolph. He's just a good guy. And now he's sporting the goatee, the evil Mason Rudolph look. And the reason why I come back to this so many times, we are talking about quarterback, is the Steelers, from the perception from the NFL and media and other fans and other teams like the Ravens or whoever, or the Chargers, they're like, yeah, you may have a defense, you may have offensive line building up, you may have a running back, but the perception from the 31 teams is, who's your quarterback? Mason Rudolph? Nah, he can't play. That's as far as it goes. But I would be happy to go into the season that, okay, maybe we don't win, maybe we don't go to the playoffs, or maybe we it's a harder chance to win games. But I would rather go into the season with Mason Rudolph than Aaron Rodgers. I think it would be an easier watch as a fan to cheer on the local guy, Mason Rudolph, who was drafted by us and then went and found another job, coming back home to Pittsburgh, Mason Rudolph redemption tour, and see what happens. But I know other Steelers fans out there, 50-50, are saying, no, we don't need him. We need to start Will Howard. We need to go and acquire Aaron Rodgers. So that is still one spot, I think, for the Steelers, and maybe that's why it does affect the draft, post-draft rankings, because we didn't get a quarterback in the first. We didn't solve that. But the Steelers also solved many other issues on D lineman or depth at outside linebacker. We're also getting a running back to fill up that room. Now, we are just waiting for that quarterback, or for the Steelers to say, actually, no, Mason Rudolph is our quarterback number one. So that's where I'm kind of with it all. I think the Steelers have been building the team over the last few years in the trenches by building O-line, by building D lineman now, with 2 picks in this draft. And I said as well on record that I thought the Steelers would go and get 2 D linemen to rotate, and Cam Hayward's getting older. I wish Cam all the best into the later parts of his career, maybe this year or next year. Maybe Cam, hangs up the bootlaces, but Cam's getting older. TJ Watt's getting a bit older, but still they can bring it. They can bring the fire, and they're building through the trenches on O-line and D-line. And because we didn't make a big move at quarterback, the perception from the NFL media is the Steelers suck. The Steelers terrible. Steelers aren't a good team. Ryan Clark even came out and said the Steelers need to tank to get a better pick. And I'm indifferent in Ryan Clark. I liked how Ryan Clark played as a free safety or safety back with the Steelers. I like the way he played. He was very hard hitting, but now he plays the media game with ESPN and will say anything for clicks and also jump back and forth. And I don't really see him as a Steeler on TV. I see him as a personality. And he said the Steelers should tank in 2025 for a better pick in 2026. I don't believe in tanking at all. I believe the Steelers need to go out there and win games and need to go to the playoffs. If that's winning the division, if that's winning a wild card, and just see how it plays out. I don't believe in tanking because the teams who tank are the ones on my image right now are the Browns, are the Saints, and Miami Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since 2000. Are the Jets or the New York Giants, even though they had a better draft. Teams like that. Teams who tank are really bad teams that always reach out for a quarterback and it doesn't work out. Would you want to be the Cleveland Browns? We have 5 quarterbacks on that roster. Steeler Nation, sorry, my apologies for all the breaks. I legit have had allergy issues today, and when I start talking, my nose starts to run. So I had to give you that visual out there, but that's just the 100% truth. I've been trying to record this episode over and over and over, and then next minute my allergies flare up, and I've got a bit a bit of a problem there. So we're gonna summarize the episode today, and then get out of here and we kind of move into next week, and we're still on the Aaron Rodgers watch. But to summarize the episode, I don't think the power rankings mean that much. I think they're overrated. The Steelers on one power ranking was ranked 30th from Dave Helm, whoever that bloke is. We're ranked 30th. I don't think it means that much. Also, the QB power rankings, that Mason Rudolph was ranked 28th, even though Cameron Ward and Shador Sanders haven't played it down yet. And of course, they could be better prospects and better quarterbacks than Mason Rudolph, for sure. But Mason Rudolph is ranked 28th. The NFL does not believe in him. NFL fan bases don't believe in him. But a big majority of Pittsburgh Steelers fans do believe in Mason Rudolph to at least have a crack for this year and next year. At least give the guy a chance. Let the guy be QB1 and see what happens when it goes into training camp, and give him a full off season with the team to work with DK Metcalf and George Pickens. And I just want to see the guy succeed. I want to see Mason Rudolph go on a Rudolph redemption tour, and maybe win comeback player of the year. I don't know. I want to see Mason Rudolph just go out there and just ball out and just see what happens. So that's pretty much, guys, my episode from G'day Steelers Nation on Steel Curtain Network, and also Steelers Nation Australia. I think the power rankings are overrated. I think the draft power rankings are overrated. I don't think it doesn't really help you that much. The only real, I guess, true test of who are the best teams are the ones winning championships right now, and that's the Chiefs. They won 2 in a row before. The Eagles stopped them getting 3. Now, are the Pittsburgh Steelers, are they bound for a championship? Probably not. Will we cheer them on anyway? 100%, 110%. No matter what, black and gold. Until I'm, you know what I'm saying, until I'm dead and whatever. I just love this team so much. But the Steelers' chance of going to a Super Bowl this year, 10%, maybe 10% for our Steelers. There's a lot of work to be done in that quarterback room, a lot of work to be done in terms of winning playoff games and getting the team fired up at the right moments, and getting the defense fired up too into a playoff run. There's a ton of work to be done for the Steelers to win a championship in 2025 or 2026. Is it impossible? No, but is it like a high chance like next year? If you go to the power rankings and the Eagles, the Lions, the Buffalo Bills, or even the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Commanders, their top 6 teams all have a high percentage chance to win the Super Bowl next year because they've been drafting really well. They've got franchise quarterbacks in Hurts. They've got Allen, and they got Lamar Jackson and Patty Mahomes and Jaden Daniels. The Steelers, in that sense, may have a long way to go, but it doesn't mean I won't stop cheering them on and keep supporting him. And that could be Mason Rudolph being QB1. I just wanted to point out that I think the power rankings are overrated in terms of everyone's now saying the Steelers are ranked 30th. They'll see draft. They should have got this guy, should have got that guy. Quarterback rankings, you haven't got a quarterback. Your team's terrible. I don't believe in any of that. I believe when you go 0-0, have a good off season, stay healthy throughout the whole time, win your division, play a playoff game in your house, and try and win week 1 and just advance forward. And when playoff time comes, you need your team to be healthy. If your team is healthy, you have a chance in the dance. Alrighty, Steeler Nation, I'll see you guys later.